Hello, my name is Ron Kim. I'm a member of the State Assembly representing parts of Queens. I've been elected in this seat since 2012. My mom's side has grown up as Catholic, and I was baptized as a Catholic when I was a kid. And religion and the church played a critical role on my family when I was growing up. But it was really the guidance of religion when my parents were struggling the most, when they came here as an immigrant, to not give up faith, to continue to persist, to believe that there is a better future, is when God and religion and the Catholic religion that our family believed in played a critical role. And as a kid, it was very tough to see my immigrant parents file for bankruptcy when their grocery store had failed. And it's easy in a very depressing time like that as a teenager to blame your parents, to blame everyone else. But it took me a long time to find the right guidance. And of course, religion and my spirituality played a very important role in making me the leader I am today. As a Korean American and Asian American, we've been conditioned for so many years to try to compete and fit in. There's a big difference between fitting in somewhere and belonging in a community. And my message to anyone who's listening in, to let you know, I want to let you know that we belong here. We don't need to try to fit in. You, your background, the food that you eat, the music you listen to, all of that is part of the American fabric. You get to shape what the future of America looks like, but you need to own it. You can't just say, oh, well, I need to adopt, and I need to be more white, be more like this. No, be proud of where you come from. We should influence them and come to invite us to Flushing, eat some Korean food, share our culture, and then we truly can belong here and shape the future of America. So I know that everyone around you growing up, it will probably tell you, well, if you study hard and you get the right job, to go to the right college, you'll be American. That's not just being American. Being American is taking ownership, participating in the political civic process. I'm not talking about just running for office, but also being involved, whether it's a local community event, a school board, whenever you get a chance, speak up and be part of the process. Shape the policies at the very local level that will dictate the future of our communities. That's how we change the landscape of how people perceive us, and that's how we take ownership of this country. As a adolescent and a teenager, transitioning into becoming an adult, as an Asian American, as a Korean American, we've, just like many of our young friends that are listening in, we have to endure a lot more sometimes than other racial communities. And at the toughest times, it's easy to lash out at our parents. It's easy to blame at the first generation. Well, why don't you speak English? Why aren't you doing more to integrate, to be part, to act like an American? It's a very easy thing for us to do, and I've done it myself as a young teenager. But once I went to college, once I started to see the bigger picture and understood the sacrifices that our parents, the first generation, has made for us to be here, it opened up a whole different perspective for me. For them, they sacrificed everything. The courage that the first generation had to give up almost everything they had in their homeland, to not speak a word of English, and make that leap to come here so us, the next generation, could have a better future is something beyond courageous. Just think about it. As a teenager, as a college student, do you have the courage right now to put away everything and move to a foreign place and you don't speak their language and start all over? It takes a lot of determination to do that, and we can never forget that, because we also inherited that determination, just like our parents and grandparents, where we come from. We also inherited that perseverance, that the willingness to continue to fight no matter how hard the situations are. That is part of our DNA as Koreans and Korean Americans that we should never forget. Your goal should always be to find something that you feel passionate about doing in life. Many of you listening are faithful and you go to church and you have guidance from your parents and from your pastor or reverend that have given you the moral clarity of what's right and what's wrong in our world. And you have to use all of that, put it together to find the courage, to find something that you are truly passionate about in life. You always want to be the first one to show up in whatever you do and the last one to leave. Don't worry about how others are judging you, validating you, or invalidating you. Your happiness, no matter what you do in life, will come from when you find that one thing, or maybe a couple of things that you feel passionate about. And it takes tremendous determination, patience, and courage to get to that point. So if you're a high school student about to go to college, give yourself some space. Do some volunteering. Help the poor. Put yourself out of your comfortable positions. We do that as Christians and Catholics. We're taught to do that, to give back, to see everyone as all God's children. But in reality, it's very tough to do that because we're so competitive, because we're so driven by the grades, the next job, feeling like, oh, I got a job at a bank, now I gotta go to law degree, now everyone thinks I'm so smart. That's all noise. Like, our common bond has to do with you finding your own passion, what you want to do, but also you treating everyone else like we are truly all God's children. And that kind of service comes from maturity, patience, and giving yourself space to grow and learn. And I hope you can take that journey. And you can always feel free to reach out to me if you want to talk about this or anything else. My office is always available to talk to young people and leaders in the future.